Welcome to my channel, the Melancholic Astrologer. Today is the talk of the limits of a Natal Astrology for common people. Hello everybody, I'm here, the Melancholic Astrologer. Hello everybody, I'm still here, and the Melancholic Astrologer. And as a melancholic, today I would like to critique something that I know very well. In this case is Natal Astrology. First of all, I would like to point out something really important. Astrology, the science of the stars, is one science, okay? But it has few different fields of specialization, let's say. It's like a language that has few dialects. Of course, everybody who's speaking one of these dialects can understand the other and can understand even the main language. But each dialect has its own speciality, right? So, Natal Astrology, it's what we all know basically as astrology. Okay. So, what we know about the horoscope, your personal horoscope. That's how they make money like this. There's bunch of articles and informations and marketing about natal astrology, and there's nothing wrong about it. I mean, like, it's marketing, okay? The real science, it's really complex. And I have to tell you something that nobody ever told you before. It doesn't matter how good is the astrology, how much you studied. In this era, because when you go to the astrologer, normally you think, I have the right birth details of myself. My mother confirmed, and my father confirmed, my aunt confirmed, and all my family confirmed. But in reality, it's really, 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 really rare that you will have the precise birth detail of yourself. Because most of births nowadays are in hospitals, okay? And in hospitals, amnesia is normal. It's really normal to have an amnesia in the hospital, like for anesthesia or for pain or for distraction. And even if you have witnesses, do you think the nurse would care seriously to write, the birth of your child 10:33 instead 10:30 or 10:35? Do you think she will really care? And what about that? What about the clocks? In the hospital, I don't know why, the clocks are often messed up. Not for a long time, but just a few minutes. I don't know why. I don't know. I seriously, I think the ones in the schools they have more precision. Okay. So, because of all of this, even if you have birth somewhere else, okay? First of all, the only thing you can do is to have somebody dedicated only to take the time of the birth. And that's what the people were doing until Renaissance time. I mean, if somebody wants to be really precise, must be some people. Maybe one is enough, but normally they have that more than one because they didn't trust even one, because it'd be really, really precise. take time of the birthday and analyze the moment of birth, okay? This is something that is almost impossible to do nowadays. I don't say it's impossible, because if you want to do it for your child that is gonna be born, you can do it. But really, you should have even the datas of conception time. I know, that's crazy. I know, but I'm talking about a certain kind of astrology that can bring real results, okay? Real results and real analysis that can be really helpful for the person involved in the horoscope, okay? Therefore, the only way that I think is possible is to have these people, astrologers, or basically astrologers, dedicated to analyze the birth of the person. Then they have to follow the person in the horoscope for all the life, because there is lots to study and there are many different systems you have to confront. So it's better to be like 2, 3, 4 astrologers maybe that they know basically all the system, but they have knowledge about their own systems, like really, I would say, precise and special, in a special way. For example, you can say like somebody in Arabic astrology, somebody with Vedic astrology, somebody that, but still in the classical ways, because I think the modern one is completely useless, okay? Modern astrology, especially contemporary astrology, what is known to be like modern astrology, is completely useless. And even it can lead you to make mistakes. Why I say this? Because there is the virus of psychology that took astrology, like other subjects, but astrology especially. So I know that, the process has been like quite long, but the result now is awful. Seriously, it's awful. So I remind you that it doesn't matter how good is the astrologer, for a real natal analysis, it's not enough. Then what can I do? What can I do? You can be happy with one analysis, of course. You can confront other analysis. You can have sometimes a deep insight with some astrologer, and that's something that normally only students of astrology do. Like, it's not something that I would say that a random person that just have an horoscope will do that. Like, you need to somehow have a knowledge of astrology to understand that, you need to know more and more, something like that. But there is also another problem that I don't know, before I'm not sure about that, but nowadays, if you go to an astrologer for an horoscope, you think you're going to some kind of psychic, okay? And it's not that all astrologers are wizards or psychics or witches or whatever. No, they could be not. And maybe they could, even they are. They can refuse to use those qualities that they have to analyze your horoscope. Why I say this? Because basically, one of the grammar of astrology is mathematics. And I say this, and I hate mathematics. When I was in school, they were doing the math classes, and I was understanding everything even faster than everybody else. But then something inside me happened, and I was doing all the first exercises perfectly, and then the lesson ended. Dream, and exactly I think 3 minutes after, I forgot completely everything. But seriously, I had an amnesia, like I didn't know where I was, and I had to, I don't know, how to have like a second class about the same subject and everything, and it was a disaster because every time I was forgetting everything. Unless I would find this mathematics useful for every day, then no problem. I was remembering everything. So I don't like maths basically, and I don't understand it, and well, I understand it, but I don't like it. Okay, so I forget it. When I don't like something as a melancholic, I just forget it. But the thing is, okay, I forget it. So mathematics is not my kink. What's gonna happen in this situation? That when you want the grammar, okay, you have the grammar of astrology's mathematics. So you cannot, doesn't matter if you have sensibility or visions or dreams or whatever, you just don't use it. Because it just leads you to mistakes in the readings. Maybe not, but normally you have to take this high risk. It's a really high risk because you have to understand, okay, you are reading this math formula and you need to translate it for the client, and then suddenly you have a feeling of something. You can say that, but that's really, it could lead to a wrong reading. So you need to focus, and the customers should understand that the astrologer is not a psychic. And even if it's a wizard or a witch, you must not use it for
Thank you for
readings.
watching.
Okay?
Maybe you can like and follow.
Because astrology is the way to talk to the gods. The way to talk to the stars, and then some say it's the way to talk to the god. Okay, anyway, for me, as a Gentile, as a pagan, I would say it's a way to talk to the gods. And you have to translate what they are saying to you. It's not easy. Okay, I didn't go through yet like the basic of astrology, but you should know that there is a difference between us and the gods, okay? But it's not like a really much difference, but there is one main difference. It's a quintessence, okay? So try to understand that you are talking to beings that are very similar to us, but at the same time they're very, very, very different. That's astrology. That's why it's complicated. That's why there are many ways to read it, okay? But normally when you decide to stick to a system, okay, for example, you decide, again, Natal Astrology has this major problem because lots of systems and blah, blah, blah. Example, sidereal or tropical. Sometimes, in the end of the day, the message is the same, but it's just with different words and different details. It's just, as I said, a language, a sentence in the main language, official language, and in few dialects. Okay. How nightmare it is to do that, especially for a melancholic. Can you understand how bad it's for me as a melancholic to 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 be so precise. You go crazy. First, you start with yourself, of course. First, you start with yourself, and you know, I have these charts sometimes, and I'm still going crazy on mine. And and when the people say, "Oh, I'm sure about the birth time," I'm really, really sure, and I know it's not. Okay, there are ways that you can maybe like certify the truthful of the datas, but I won't trust it. As I mean, like, it depends on the result that you want. If you are happy with a medium result, like medium result or even medium high, it's okay. But if you want an excellent, extreme, excellent result, that's impossible. Completely impossible. Okay? So, what I mean, like, then we have, like, also, they are all connected to natal astrology, all these fields, like medical astrology, actually, medical astrology. But then we have elective astrology. That's basically consequential on the natal astrology, and well, not always, but still it's very similar. Also, I will say that you will need 3-4 people to calculate stuff, and yeah, you can avoid major mistakes, especially in business, but not so easy. Not so easy, viewers. Then what we have? We have mondial astrology. About that, as a melancholic, I will say it's the most useless of all. Why? Why do I say that? Okay, it's very useful for the ones that is for the astrologer looking for followers, because it's basically doing politics. Okay, so politics attracts lots of people. But what's the use of it? I mean, what advantage would a single person have it from mondial astrology? And I'm not saying that it's a field of astrology not worth studying. As I said, it's all a science. But my critic is, what's useful in this beside the politics? I mean, like, talking about politics and attracting followers. Okay, maybe I think my first followers will soon start to hate me. Okay, first of all, because I change channels and I do here and there, and then I'm doing this now, and they don't understand why I'm. Anyway, and I criticize everything. So as melancholic astrologer, I have an hard life. Then, let's focus on the most important things. Mondial astrology, as all others, okay, it's complicated because every nation has a different story, and every nation has different features, and all the world is, it's basic, as I said, politics, historical politics. I used it during COVID. During COVID time, I did some analysis, and actually I will say that most of my colleagues were saying, that's not possible. Of course. Well, I have to say that I had also some visions that helped me. But as I said, I didn't need to follow that. I just need to see the stars and everything, So just basic interpretation of the astrology language. it was useful in that time? A little. I have to say it was kind of useful at that time because it was a critical time. But I could have like doing other analysis and having maybe a better result. But because they were all of my colleagues that they were going crazy and they were just basically talking about politics and they forgot people. The people needed, okay, different kind of assistance, I think, at that time, but you know, I'm a melancholic astrologer. It's very rare that I accept customers. It doesn't matter if you are paying or not. It's very rare that I accept it. And it's not to make you feel precious. It's because I am a pain in the ass, even when I'm reading for other people. I'm a pain in the ass when I read for myself. Can you imagine for other people? So, I am worse for myself anyway. I'm joking with you boys. So, then, one day, I was there thinking like, somebody folded my hands. I don't remember if it was an article or a sentence. I don't know. Somehow, I was driven to the introduction, the letter of William Lilly to the students of astrology. And you know, William Lilly. I remember I was in the street looking at my phone and reading while walking, and then I felt like this feeling of knowledge coming through me, and I said, like, must be a sign of something, because I had no clue this kind of astrology existed, this field of astrology, because when I was asking other teachers because of analysis of my birth chart and this and that, and actually I don't remember well if it was before or little after I found out about my alcohol. Okay, the alcohol is like the nature of the guardian angel or whatever. We will get into that later. Don't worry, guys. But anyway, I don't remember exactly. But when I read this letter of William Lilly to the student of astrology of all time, I said, he's writing exactly to me. He's talking to me, and yeah, he was saying, I don't remember exactly because I should take the letter. Maybe one day we will read it together. That he was like, that this, the first steps to get into astrology should be horary. Because there you start to understand how all things are connected, how this nature of essence of divinities or whatever, they materialize in this world, how the macrocosm becomes the microcosm, and whatever he wrote, I don't remember, but this the synthesis of the point was that. And I was like, when I understand that you could find your lost kiss or your lost phone or whatever. I lose things all the time. I am a melancholic, but I'm distracted. What can I do? And I was like, oh my God, I can't, maybe this is the piece that I was missing of astrology. Okay. Then I started to study horary, but I didn't trust it. I didn't trust it. In the beginning, I didn't trust it. I was like, there's something. I'm a melancholic. I don't trust it. I must test it. So, I must test it, and what I did, I was at the front place. I was talking to her and saying like, oh, I found this, and okay, she's more skeptic than me. I was like, oh, what the fuck is that? What do you think? Okay, then I said, no, we have to test it now. So of course, I was referring the instructions of William Lilly, because it was the first one I found available, and actually they're the best. Okay? So I opened the chart. I remember I said, I asked the gods, what am I? What am I? What am I? But because we were in two and she was posing the questions together with me, it was more like, where are we? Which is me. Together. Okay. And I opened the chart. And I said, I had to, of course, configure significators. I don't know if you know how it works in Horary, but you have to figure out which actors are which, and like theater or cinema. And then I was like, okay. And the answer was that we were into at home. And that was the truth. We were at home, watching at the screen of the computer. I got scared. I was like, oh my God, they know really everything. Well, and my friend said, well, didn't you know that the gods know everything? I said, yeah, I know, but not like that. I was shocked, and I was saying, no, this test is not enough. This test is not enough because I'm a melancholic. And I think my friend was on the way. I don't want to challenge with her who is more melancholic, but I think we could doing this kind of match, and I don't know if there will be a winner or not. So I was like, okay. Then I started to test, other questions and study already more and more and more and more and more and more. And then what I found out was that it's the most useful field of astrology. Why I say this? Because, of course, in the ancient times, as William Lilly was saying, because, okay, in the Renaissance time, the time of William Lilly, but even before the medieval times of Bonatti, first thing I learned, it's easier to understand somebody from the Renaissance times, somebody from the Middle Age, or even the ancient world, because many things have been changing, and it's a close in time translation. When it's long time past, to one language, yeah, the base is the same, but like Latin, for example, Latin is Italian. Basically, it's Italian. So, okay, you can say it's French too, it's Spanish too, and blah 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 blah. But basically, it's Italian. So, an Italian would understand something of like some epigraphy of Latin, maybe. But the more ancient it is, the less you will understand, and then it will be like, even if you speak in vulgar Italian, even the ancient vulgar, he will understand better than in fucking Latin. Even if he studied Latin, because if he studied Latin, you need to look at the dictionary most of the times. So you understand. There are people speaking Latin in the church that used to do it, but you understand what I mean? It is easier to talk with someone that speaks closer to your language. Okay. So I would say the astrologers of the Renaissance time, they were the best for us, okay? But they had studied the ancients before, but it's better with their filter, okay? I'm trying to explain to a kid what happened to me in the gym when I started to go at gymnastics, and I was like 8 years old, and my teacher was using methods that now, if we try to use it in the gym, they kick us out. the other coaches, of course, you know, if I would use the same system. But I would explain to the kid what happened before, and that there are different ways, and that we found out that maybe this is the better way she can try. But if she wants, of course, she's welcome to try the older ways. You understand what I mean? Okay, I think you did. So, what is then William Lilly had also one speciality. He studied by himself. I mean, he had teachers, but he was not an academic, which I think in these things it's helpful. He studied, but it was not like obligated to follow the academic rules. And then he was in his letter, and what he left to us. Okay, for them, it was common to, it was very well known that Natal Astrology cannot be applied to common people. I mean, you can give some ideas, you can find if they may have some talents or stronger talents or not, but it's, you understand what I mean? They really knew that it was not applicable for everybody. And most of people that didn't have the birth times, actually they were honest about it. Because come on, they were honest about it. They said that we don't have it. Like, we don't know. Maybe it was born at 8, maybe at 11. I don't remember, I don't know. Because they know they had to be really precise, otherwise the astrology was not starting to work, because it was a work, it's a waste of time. Okay? Even if they were paid, do you think they would do that? No, because they knew that it was a headache for nothing. As I said, maybe something general they would take a look, but no. For example, the temperament of the person, okay, it was not very difficult if you know about the time and so, but and then it has to have, like, you have to see this in the body, so you have something to confirmate what the datas, okay? So think about this. He wanted to help the common people. I mean, I don't take it as charity, because he spent so much money studying with the private teachers, and some was pretty crazy, like John Evans. John Evans, one of the teachers of William Lilly, was really pretty crazy boy, and he was a magician. There are articles in the Renaissance time that he had an argument with the spirit, they say, and with some creature, with some entity, and he was teleported in another side of England, and then he had to walk up there to ask someone to help him to go back home to his wife. That was the teacher of William Lilly. Then he had others, one was even Abraham Lilly the magician. I think I had the text of him. I don't think he went to Egypt to study with him, but you understand what I mean. So it is extensive. It's like this. Okay, you understand. Study of him led to the fact that he wanted to be practical. I wonder, was he a melancholic? I have to check this. I have to check it. Wait a second, I'm gonna... Okay, I had a check. Actually, it's funny because he... both in tropical and sidereal, if the birth date is right, it was some kind of half melancholic. I mean, like, little bit more, little bit less. There was some major of melancholy in this, because otherwise you don't have the feeling to be so precise, you don't really actually care. And okay, let's go on. So Horary, in my opinion, has been the best tool or field to talk with the gods. I mean, sometimes even now I make tests, because sometimes I say, oh, so cannot be true. So, actually, William Lilly was warning, but if not only him, the mistake you can do with Horary is not what they are saying, but how you read it. So you need to be sure how you make this question, and you need to be sure to have the right technique, easy for you to read it. Otherwise, it's just you're posing a question in a language that you don't understand well, and you're not even sure it's the right translation, and the answer that you may get will be in an even more difficult language. So interpret it will be like more and more difficult, can lead you to mistakes. This is how it is, and it's I don't want to say like the astrologer can be good or bad. It can make a little difference, but the answer is there. And I have to say it as a melancholic also. I will stick to the classical rules all the time. I mean, it's not, for example, it's not true that they discovered the planets Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto in modern times. I mean, astronomers say that, but in reality, for the ancients, they had other names, but basically it was the same. Like if they didn't take this in consideration in reading Horary or in any kind of astrology, they may have had a reason. What do you think about that? Like, they were all stupid. We are studying from them. So I will say to any person, it is more useful to find the lost keys, or to know if they're gonna get a phone call, or how a relation is going on, and any kind of relation basically, and to know that, I mean, that's deep in Horary. There are some questions that can take a long time, okay? Long time, in the answer, but most of them, like, take the moment, and let's say a human normal time frame, like if you're realistic time frame, if you ask if you're gonna get a phone call and you expect this in the next month, it will be pretty rare that it will come out in 6 months. It will most likely come in 6 days or 6 weeks at the worst, if you understand what I mean. Then we have also astrological magic, which is, I think, the best feature of astrology. That was connect magic and astrology. But it's also part of the same language. And even for that, to not have too much headache, I will use your Horary to pick times and a few other basic stuff. Now, I was considering that I should maybe like extend the grammar of astrology, a real grammar, because you have to understand that this science is a language, and every language has a grammar. As a melancholic, I like structure, and the structure of language is grammar. So, I'm not the kind of person that learn from words and listening, and yeah, it's something in the brain. Sometimes you start to understand something, but without grammar, I cannot. I told you, I'm a pain in the ass. Without grammar, I cannot understand anything, for real. So, another feature of Horary is that you can pose any kind of question. And also, what is really debated with many of my colleagues is they claim you cannot do it for yourself. I mean, I know you need customers, come on, but why I cannot do it for myself? I mean, like, why you will say, if the person doesn't have a talent, the answer will be, in the end, not precisely wrong, to make headache, and the person will quickly stop to practice and study horary astrology, or even astrology itself. But why? What's the real reason? Because you think I'm influenced by my thoughts. I'm a melancholic. There are other people that are melancholic, and anyway, if you cannot analyze coldly an horoscope, you just cannot be an astrologer. It's not a matter of how are your thoughts. And the gods know you're posing the question. Remember that. Okay? Seriously. And whatever you have, like, in mind, it won't change your reading. You can be distracted because you want to read the answer quickly. That's something else. That's something completely different than be influenced by your thoughts and lead you to a mistake. That's very psychological, you know, and I heard this from my colleagues that criticize psychology, but that's really, really, really psychological, because there is no root in the classical studies about it. I mean, astrologers like William Lilly or others, they were not going to other astrologers to find the lost keys. They would just do it themselves. That's how it is. I mean, you can go to somebody else to maybe this, you know, this other astrologer knows more, you know, but experience will teach you as well. So this is something I never actually understood. Also, what I do not understand, that as an astrologer, okay, you decide what's an important question or not. I heard this also from many tarot readers, and I would like to punch them in the face and break their nose. I actually never had a chance to do it. Maybe one day I will, who knows. Because you cannot decide what's important for the other person. You have no right to do that. If you don't like that kind of question, just don't do the readings, or don't accept the customer, but don't bother the customer. The customer is there for something. Okay, if you cannot provide for, you know, the constructs that he is or she is there for, then you should not do readings at all. Maybe for yourself. And that's the first thing. The only thing the astrologer can and must filtrate is how posing the question, and how many questions posing at the same time, because sometimes the customer have lots of questions, you know, and you have to focus and say, no, today we do this. Okay, the astrologer has the freedom to decide when to accept the question, and you cannot do nothing about that as a customer. And how to pose the question, you must choose together with the astrologer. If the question is enough clear for him or for her, then it will say, okay, no problem, I understand it. But if there is something that the astrologer is not sure to be able to read in the right way, you have to listen to the astrologers and follow the instructions. That's how it is. Like, that's the only thing. And if you say, no, it's not the right moment, trust the astrologer, okay? Because you cannot impose yourself for these things, okay? I know that you are used to say, hey, I want to do this when I want. No, it doesn't work like that. The astrologer knows what it's doing. He's the one that is talking to the gods, not you. Otherwise, study and do it yourself. So, this is my melancholic view about astrology. And maybe severe and practical, but real. And yes, that's my favorite field of astrology. And now you know the reasons. And I kindly ask to my colleagues to also be like so nice to explain also to people in general, to the public and customers, that horary and astrology in general, but especially horary, because it can be mistaken, it has nothing to do with tarot readings or oracles of any kind. It's a kind of oracle, somebody will debate, yes, but this system is different. Like, no, it is different because the stars know already. I know there are systems where they use like similar techniques of horary, like placidus keys and stuff, you know, that on the birth chart. But as I said, I will be afraid to use those techniques. I can do it for test, I can do for studying, but to have a, let's say, what I can consider a real answer, no, I will not do that. I will stick to horary with classic knowledge. Yeah. So, well, dears, if you would like to know more and more melancholic insights, and maybe stay with me with my astrology grammar, then stay with me and follow.
Maybe you can like and follow.